Hello everyone, we're going to start the AGM in a few minutes, so if you're not planning to be here for that and you're here eating lunch and just for a chit chat, then please make your way out of the room for us, please. We're going to start at 1 o'clock. If you're staying for the AGM, good, welcome. We've got some sign-in sheets for you. This is part of our requirements to record who comes in, so please do sign it. Let us know what type of membership you hold for the formal parts of the AGM.
What I would have said was, if you're a member, stay anyway, even if you weren't planning on being here.
Yeah, just don't talk. Yeah, if you're a member of Alt, there's nothing on for the next 45 minutes, so you might as well stay with us. The imaginary one, yeah. John's imaginary bar is open. So yeah. Katie, or someone at the back of the Alt team, could you just go through the main room there and just tell people the AGM is happening and draw them towards us, please?
You want me to see the slides?
Yes, yeah, you should just be able to when they're up. Just click through them. All right, or do you want me to do them from down there?
Probably.
Yeah, I can just stay up here, but sort of
No, it's fine.
out the way. You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
We all do. We're consummate professionals. No, we're going to have to shut the door. Yeah, we'll give people a couple of minutes because it looks like a few more people are coming on at least. Looks like we're over 25 anyway. Here's what I do best. I'm looking for we've got 25, we just have to have 25.
Okay.
Well, I'll basically put my hand up to be teller during those bits, and then we just need another teller, and then once we've done the 2 resolutions in the room, I'll then shut the form, and then we'll count the online ones, and I'll make a note of those.
Right. Well, this is good. Welcome, everybody. I hope you do think you're here for the AGM and not just still finishing your lunch, but it's lovely to see you all. So this is the formal part of the proceedings for this conference. And it's great to see you all here taking part in this democratic process. Alt is a membership organisation, and it is one of its true values is openness. And so the workings of Alt the workings of the board and the workings as us as an organisation are open to scrutiny through this AGM, and it's great to have so many members here taking part in this. Now, as many of you will know, this has been a year of transition for Alts. We've spent most of the year without a chief exec, and therefore our capacity to take on new initiatives, new projects has been more limited than usual. And I think it is fair to say that our Chief Operating Officer, Kerry, who has stood up as a chief exec as well through the year, has done a fantastic job. And I would like to put on record the thanks of the board of trustees and me personally. She can't see me, so we're not gonna get emotional, for the work that she has done this year. And yes, let's have a And that work has included 2 successful conferences, operational leadership of Alts, keeping the show on the road, and the success of our ongoing projects, especially Amplify FE and our apprenticeship work that have all gone along very smoothly this year. I also want to say thanks to the team, and some of them are standing at the back there now. I know it has been a difficult year for you all. I know it has. And I just want to thank you personally for sticking with us and for working so hard and supporting Kerry and supporting us as a board this year. It is much appreciated. You may think that nobody knows what you do, but none of it goes unnoticed. We know what you do and we appreciate what you've done this year. So thank you very much indeed to the team as well. So I want to just say something about the effectiveness of the board as well. I'm just thinking, is this on the next slide? No, it's not. No, I'll just say it. Shall I just? Never mind. So one of the things I said about the openness of the way that we operate. So we take part in what we call board effectiveness. Oh, it is. You know what? Kerry said, "Shall I do the slides?" And I said, "No, it'll be fine." There we go. So we've got what we do every year is we evaluate our own effectiveness. And so what we do is send around questionnaires, and then we look and we think about how we work as a board. And I think it's fair to say this year that the effectiveness is pretty much the same as it has been the last couple of years. Some of the overall figures go up and down a little bit, but I think it's testament to the board and to the individual members of the board and who work as trustees that we are effective. And I think some of those changes are not statistically significant. I think ones that have gone down are things like understanding the finances and the risk. And I think with our new chief exec, we will need to work more in a more focused way on understanding the risk to Alts as we navigate choppy waters financially, as everybody does. But I think that the overall effectiveness of the board has remained the same this year. So I'd like to now just say a personal thanks to the board, and several of them are in this room, and they're a fantastic group of people. I'm sure you appreciate that working as member of a board in this capacity is purely voluntary, and they've all got busy day jobs, and they're all working in organisations that are undergoing a lot of change and a lot of and they're often at the key point in that change, and they're doing all that work on top of being trustees. So thank you. I love working with you all, and I've really appreciated working with you all again this year. So thank you very much. Right, I think now we have to approve the minutes of the last AGM. So I need a proposer and a seconder to approve the minutes. So Kerry is a proposer. Do I have a seconder? Pete over there. Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much. Is that okay? Yep. And I noted that there were no matters arising from those minutes last year. So now it is my absolute great pleasure to introduce to you the next Chief Executive of ALT. And as I said, we've spent most of this year without a chief exec. So, of course, we're all absolutely thrilled to now have one. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the process, because we gave a lot of thought to how we would appoint our next chief exec. And we engaged a headhunter who was fantastic. If any of you want a recommendation for a headhunter, she was not one of the ones that normally works that I'm familiar with in the HE space, but was absolutely fantastic. And what we looked at was a long list of people that had met the criteria, and then we did a process where we looked at the competencies of those candidates and we matched them. So it was like a competency-based interview, and from that we were able to pick a number of people that we thought would be capable of doing the job. And then we put those forward to a more in-depth process, looking at their strategic vision for ALTs, their fits with the organisation, their understanding of a membership organisation, their understanding of leading and managing a team remotely. And we had a very strong field. I'm thrilled to report. And the process ended up with us appointing Susan Martin. So Susan has an enormous range of experiences and expertise that made her the perfect fit for ALTs. She's worked in a variety of HE institutions, including in the private sector as well. So she brings a real wealth of that business experience as well. And most recently, she spent 5 years at UCL as Director of Online and Lifelong Learning. So without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Susan Martin, Chief Executive of ALT.
Thank you very much, Helen. I'm only going to say a few words. I think I'm on day 12, so it's all still very new to me. I'd like to thank you all for making me feel so welcome at this conference. And do feel free to come up and meet me and have a chat. If there's anything you want to talk about, how ALT can go forward. One of the big things that we're going to be doing in the next few months is starting to think about the strategy for the next 5 years. And I'm really keen that all of you get involved in that process as well. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for you to tell us what you think we should be doing, how we can be growing in the future. And I look forward to seeing many of you at the dinner this evening. Thank you very much.
So now to the annual reports and accounts. And Siôn Douglas, our Honorary Treasurer, isn't able to be with us. And do we have a video?
Hello, my name is Siôn Douglas. I'm one of the ALT trustees and the ALT Honorary Treasurer. Today I'm going to share with you a quick overview of the financial performance for ALT for the year ended 31st of January 2024. Starting with a positive, ALT managed to grow its income by around 10%. This was primarily driven by event income, and I think has demonstrated a real demand by members and others for the types of events that ALT are running. I know many of you just now are listening and enjoying the annual conference, which is one of these. I think this is a real positive and an area that we really hope to develop further in the future. However, this increase was more than offset by an increase in costs, which has resulted in a net deficit for this period of around £10,000. Whilst many have faced similar cost challenges in this period, it is important that action is taken to return to a break-even position. The ALT trustees see this as one of the key priorities for the next period and are working closely with the ALT team to address this. The trustees commissioned an independent examination of the financial statements, and I'm pleased to say that this has been completed with no issues identified. Finally, can I express my thanks to all of the ALT team for their work during the year, and for me, a special mention to both Kerry and Jane for their work on the financial statements and all the other financial areas that we've done during the year. Thank you.
Thanks, Shona. So the resolution then is, it is hereby resolved that 2023-24 annual report and accounts be approved. So I will need a proposer. Thank you, Sharon, and a seconder. Thank you, Sheila. So now we will need to vote. So I'm going to ask people who are here, who are a member, to vote by raising their hands. So we'll start with 4. And I think if you're a member and an institutional member, can you vote twice? Yes. So if you are a personal member and you know that your institution is an institution member and you're the only person from that institution, you can vote twice. So I also need a teller. Kerry, yeah. Okay. So the vote. Oh, do we need another teller? Yeah, Jane, brilliant, thank you. So the vote, those in favour, please raise your hand now. Okay, against or abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. That's passed, which is great. So the next resolution is to appoint an auditor for next year. So we're proposing to reappoint David Cadwallader and Co, who are our auditors. So do you want to can you just put that slide on, Kerry? Oh, it's on. Sorry, beg your pardon. So I need a proposer and a seconder for that motion. Proposer, yep, brilliant. Seconder, yep. Thank you very much. And then, again, can we have the same tellers? Is that fine? Yep, you too. Yep. So those in favour, please, of reappointing our auditor. Yep. Yep. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Against and any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. So we've got online voting as well for both of those, and we will close that and add those to the anybody listening online. If you haven't, if you could vote now, and we will close that in a couple of minutes, and then we'll count those as well.
Resolution 1, we have 4 votes for, no against, no abstentions. And resolution 2, we have 4 votes for, no votes against, and no abstentions either.
Okay, so we now move on to trustee appointments. This is where Kerry said I should talk about the board effectiveness, in case you're wondering why I managed to cock that up so spectacularly. Kerry sent me very careful briefing notes and I managed to fudge it. So I would have talked about that there, but I've already talked about it, so it's fine. So this year there were no elected vacancies on the board, but we have had a member of the board reaching the end of their term. So we have appointed a trustee to replace them. So I'm going to now welcome Matt Kernock, who is joining us on the board. Is Matt here? Oh, yeah. He cracked up and I didn't see him. I didn't see you put in there. Do you want to say?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to contribute to ALT as a member of the board. I've been a member of ALT since about 2009. Been a CMALT assessor longer than I can care imagine. And one of the real driving forces about wanting to contribute back to ALT is actually coming from being a CMALT assessor and seeing the great work that exists within the community and learning from it and being able to contribute to the development of ALT members. So I'm really excited to be able to contribute in this way and look forward to being part of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, for joining. So that brings me to announce that Peter Bryant has reached the end of his term. And I do love that picture of Peter because I think it just gives him a there's a slight edge there, isn't there, of kind of danger about that photo. So what can I say about Peter? Well, Peter was on the board when I took over as chair of the board. And quite honestly, it's hard to imagine really having those board meetings without Peter. We extended him last year because we were in that transitional sort of period. And I think that's a reflection of how much he is valued by the board and by me and the organisation. And what Peter brings to our meetings is an analytical, strategic, business-focused approach, all wrapped up with a warm and witty personality. And he never, ever mentions how late we keep him up in Australia with our meetings. So that's always a good thing as well. So Peter, as I say, I'm still finding it hard to process the fact that you are actually leaving us, but we have a small gift for you. And if you'd like to come up and indulge in some ritual humiliation.
Oh yeah. Put me in front of a microphone. Thank you very much to all for giving me the opportunity to be a trustee. As Helen said, I've been a trustee for 7 years. I can't believe it was 7 years. And I left the UK about 8 months, I think, after I started as a trustee. ALT is a really important organisation for what we do. We are really important to our sector. We're really important to the people we all work with in our universities. They may not know it, they may not have heard of it, they may not see it, but it makes what they do better. And that's not just the academics, it's not just the professional services staff, it's for the students. And as a trustee, I think that's been what I've put right at the core. And I'd like to, as I said, thank all for having me and allow me to do that as part of the board. So thank you. And thank you for the gift. And I do hope you like the evening photo.
So at this point in the proceedings, the formal business of the AGM is complete. So I'm going to hand over to Kerry now briefly to look at talk us through some of the key points for the impact report.
Thanks, Helen. So I want to share with you our impact report for this year. So you can use the QR code to go and grab the whole of the impact report. But I've just selected a few key things out just to sort of talk you through some of the things that we've been working on this year and some of the key things that we've achieved. So we've had a lot of things on this year. So, you know, we had our wonderful annual conference last year in Warwick, which was a really big success and really pleasing to see members as well starting to come back, you know, to in-person events again, and the sort of atmosphere and the vibe around coming back together and being together in rooms was really, really strong. It was also our 30th year in 2023. So we had a big 30th year celebration at the annual conference as well. You know, and I think, as Helen's alluded to in her conversation, so many of the trustees that are here, you know, have contributed to those 30 years. And some of the people are still here, like Sheila, for example, who I can see over there, who's also, you know, as chair previously contributed to those previous 30 years. So it's wonderful to celebrate all that's been achieved at ALT in all that time. Brilliant OER conference as well in Cork last year, and Garode and Tom, who co-chaired it, are around at the conference, and a lot of the MTU colleagues are doing sessions here as well. We had a fantastic open education conference there. The Amplify Fee project, which I mentioned this morning in my welcome address, is something we're really passionate about, something we really care about, supporting our further education and vocational education colleagues through that network. And that's something that's carried on this year. We've got the 4th year of the project renewed with our strategic partners, UFI. And that's really been important to us as well. We had our winter summit as well in December around AI that was chaired by Sharon and Natalie from the trustees. And we'll be doing another winter summit as well. Just a little plug. There's no such thing as a free AGM. There's just a little plug there for we'll be doing another online conference as well in December again. One of the things as well that we've been working really considerably on this year is around our EDI work, our equity, diversity and inclusion work. This is an important piece of work. This was started by previous CEO Maren Deepwell, and it's something that we've been carrying on since she stepped away. And I've been working really closely on this with Puyin Wong, our trustee, and we've been looking at ways that we can increase our diversity, ways that we can increase our reporting, and the ways that we can start to understand better how we're doing as an organisation, but also then take from that what we need to do going forward to try to increase the diversity and the appeal of alt, to as many people as possible. So some of the things that we've been working on this year. So we've established an action plan for the next year as well. So we'll be looking at various things to improve our reporting and monitoring systems so that we can get a better picture of our membership and our volunteers to understand where we need to focus our time. We're also going to start making active reports at our AGMs as well. So trying to report back on the work that we're doing, showing the impact that we've done and where we need to go going forward. We're also looking at our sort of training and support for volunteers and for our trustees and our staff members as well, and looking at implementing training to support them better and in order to support the community more widely, particularly in the volunteer area where we have a lot of volunteers. And then we've also been looking at how we do our recruitment, selection and induction for our staff as well, and how we actually bring people into the organisation in a formal way, and how we embed that EDI and the importance of EDI to us into our recruitment and our selection processes. We've also been looking at implementing a code of conduct, and we'll start to do that over the next year, thinking about how we can ensure that people coming to events like this or engaging with our online, feel safe, but also when things do happen, that there is a way that people can get help and support from alt, to address any of those sort of challenges. So that's the sort of main thing that we've been working on this year. Puyin has been really instrumental in helping me to put this sort of plan together. So next year, we'll hopefully be able to come back to the AGM next year and tell you a little bit more about what we've achieved over the last year in implementing all of these things. You're at an event, welcome. We do a lot of events at alt. We do a huge variety of different events. We have our open education conference, which is, very much focused on open education each year in sort of March, April time. And of course, our annual conference, which you're at the moment. But we also do our CPD webinars, and we have a huge number of CPD webinars. There's a back catalogue, but we reintroduced them last year as something that we know members are particularly keen on. So we invite members who have particular expertise to actually present and to host a CPD webinar. What we hope is that members will get something from the webinars themselves and take that away and apply that to their own practice. So it's very much about getting that sort of practical takeaways from our webinars. And we've also got a huge number of member group and special interest groups that are happening throughout the year, putting on online and in-person events as well. So we do a huge amount in terms of that. And Katie is the sort of mastermind of particularly our in-person events, and Fiona does our CPD events. So the staff team do a huge amount to contribute to just putting on these events that we've held. We had about 3,000 participants over the entirety of last year in the 52 events that we held. And it's a really important way for us to give members opportunities to network, but also, to give members an opportunity to disseminate their own practice and to share the great work that you're all doing within your institutions. Over their lifetime, the Alt Awards have given out 47 awards to various people, to teams, to individuals, to projects. And of course, we've got our awards ceremony again tonight. And we've got two new awards. So the JISC award, was that last year or the year before, Fiona? Last year. So that's second year of the JISC Digital Transformation Award, which will be presented by Sarah Knight this evening. And we also introduced this year an award with our strategic partners, UFI VocTech Trust, to try and give further education and to focus on further education of vocational educators in that award. And we've also this year reintroduced the Community Choice Award. So that is an award that is voted for by you. So the award winners put themselves forward to be voted for from all of the winners, and you all as the community, as our members, get to choose who your community choice is. So we'll announce that tonight as well. So hopefully I'll see you all at the awards tonight and we'll celebrate some of those people's successes. We've done a lot of work around CMOT this year as well. This year we had, or last year I should say, we had 133 people achieve their CMOT. Last year we also introduced the first CMOT committee. So that is a group, I haven't got all their names up here, but I will mention it tomorrow in my CMOT update. But we have about 15 people who are part of our CMOT committee. And the idea is that instead of it just being me and Fiona talking to ourselves about what should we do with CMOT, should we change this, should we do something else, we put this group together to get member input into how the CMOT scheme works. We put ideas to them, they give us feedback, they give us feedback. It's just going to help us develop the scheme as we go forward. Next year, we've got some things that have come out of that we're going to start piloting next year. And it's been a really valuable source of information to help us, make CMOT, our certified membership scheme, shaped to member needs. We've also been looking at our guidance. So we just updated our assessor guidance, and we also I've started working, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, looking at Michael sitting there. King's College have been supporting us, King's Digital I should say, have been supporting us to put together a guide for CMOT. So that's for candidates, as a way for you to, if you can't come along to our webinars, but you want to take a more formal kind of structured approach to your CMOT, you can take this course from start to finish online, fully online. And it will help you get to the point of actually submitting your CMOT. So that's been a really big part of our work, and I think a really key thing in supporting members going forward. And I want to say a really big thank you to our assessors. Matt alluded to this earlier. It's a huge ask. We have every CMOT portfolio is assessed by 2 volunteers. They don't get paid for this. They give up their time freely to us. They review, they come to training, they do all of those things. So a huge thank you to our assessors. And we have, I think, I can't read, it's really small, 126 people who are volunteer CMOT assessors. And if you're thinking about CMOT assessment and you wonder, is it for you? Well, there's a session tomorrow, another little plug, that Julie Vose is running. Julie's another of our really experienced assessors. So if you thought about it, it's something you might want to add, for your own CPD, do go along to that session tomorrow afternoon, and learn a little bit more about CMOT, what CMOT assessment involves. So a big thank you to them. The scheme couldn't run without them. We also have a lot of member and special interest groups. And as I say, they hold events throughout the year, either in person, geographically, or they will also hold things online. And we have our special interest groups, which are focused around topics as well. So we've also, big news and very exciting news. This year, we're launching several new special interest groups. So one on digital accessibility, one on digital assessment, one on digital sustainability, and one focused around kind of independent career pathways, the more non-traditional career pathways outside of HE and education, so people working independently and contractors. So it's a really exciting development for us. We know this is a really big area of interest, and there's an expanding, number of people who work, freelance contract in the industry. So we're hoping that will be an area of support for them as well. There will be a session tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, Fiona. Tomorrow, where these new special interest groups will be launching. So if you're interested in those and you might want to get involved either as a member or indeed as an officer, come along tomorrow and learn a bit more about them. And finally, I just want to talk about the Research in Learning Technology Journal, because I think it's one of the things that we do that probably gets the least amount of press, as it were. It's a really significant piece of work. Peter Bryant has been the chair of the board for, well, at least almost the entirety of your 7 years, really, basically. And Peter has been the chair of that, and Michael Flavin is our editor-in-chief. And it is all, again, a volunteer endeavour. So a huge thank you to them for all the work that they do to get the journal articles, to review them and to put them out and publish them for us. One of the key things is the speed and the increase in which the journal has, the site score has increased, and the amount of submissions that we receive, and just the pure interest that we get in the journal just shows that the work of the editorial team and the board has really, really done a lot to, increase its what's the word? It's a word I'm looking for that's completely escaping. Impact, that'll do. That wasn't the one I was looking for, but that'll do. But yeah, increase its impact, but also, you know, the extent to which people want to submit and get their work out there shows how much, you know, how much it has got cachet within the research community. So a huge, huge thank you to them. And last year they did a special edition. So if you, it's quite an interesting special edition around the sort of 30 years of the RRT journal. And it looks at sort of the life of the journal over the last 30 years, where research has moved in learning technology over those 30 years. So a very interesting edition of that. And also just to say, if you're looking for somewhere to disseminate your research, then perhaps consider Research in Learning Technology as the place where you do that. And lastly, just to mention the ALTC blog as well, we've got a number of new blog editors that have joined us this year. And we continue to post blog posts directly from members and from other people who are involved in the community. And it is edited by our members, written by our members, for our members. So it's another really important piece of work that we do. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, our Amplify FE project, really important project. So over the next month or so, they'll be releasing their audit report, which is a really interesting piece of research into communities and where communities are moving in the education sector. And they'll also later in the year release their next insights report. But if you're interested in either of those, they are already published for last year. But that will be coming up, and we've got some sessions around Amplify FE tomorrow. So that's it. Over to Helen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen. So it's my pleasure now to thank all the volunteers who contribute to the roles within ALT and members coming to the end of their term. So welcome to the following ALT blog editors: Abigail Ball, Anna Armstrong, Debnian Day, Laura Fidman, Liv Chapter, and Lucianne Pickering. So thank you if any of those are in the audience. A warm personal thanks. And if not, if you're even listening online, you're very welcome. So then, welcome to the CMALT committee. I'm not going to read all of these out, but there's some people on there that will be well known to us, and some that I've just mentioned before as well. So thank you everybody who's coming on to the CMALT committee. Very important work, as Kerry was just outlining. And then we've got some new special interest group officers. So those are there for, I'm not going to read those out again, but there we have those for digital assessment, digital sustainability, digital accessibility, and independent consultancy. So as Kerry was saying, these are really critical to the work, the ongoing work of ALT and the involvement of members. And so we're very, very grateful to those people taking on those roles. And thank you to all the volunteers who are stepping down this year. So we have Graham McAlevey, who's the White Rose member group, David Hopkins, who's one of our blog editors, Jess Humphreys, the LSIG vice chair, Tirunami Nadan, who's our anti-racism and learning technology chair, Jim Turner, LSIG chair, and Amy Gottler, who's our M25 LTG member group officer. So again, if any of you are in the room, thank you again very much for all the work that you've done. And if not, I hope you're listening to this on a recording or on live. So it's now the awards ceremony for CMALT. So if we've got people in the room who've achieved CMALT this year, you can come up on stage, get a badge, and have a photo. So have we got people coming up, Kerry? Yay, come on, brilliant.
And if you've achieved CMALT before, but you haven't had one of the coveted enamel pin badges, then please do come up and get one as well. It doesn't just have to be noobs. It can also be the established people. You can come up. Come on. You're going to come up anyway. We can't stop you. Come on. If anyone else has got CMALT and you've never had a badge, come and grab one as well. Great. Oh my God. Come on, get a photo. Come on. You're too photogenic to be left out.
You got some. Oh, we haven't done it. Oh, yeah. They're special.
Yeah, take a photo of them later, yeah. Yeah, that one.
Right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Come and grab one, Fiona, on your way down.
All these years.
You never got one.
I'm not even sure I'm one of maybe.
Right, that's it. So it is, without further ado, I close the meeting. Thank you all for coming and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah.